Willie D Live.
It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Ty James.
What's up? What's up?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into it. You are the daughter and executive producer of Bitching, the sound and fury of Rick James. How was it going on that emotional roller coaster of reliving your dad's life?
Oh gosh, you starting off real hot, huh?
Well, y'all start, you hot. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks,
You
Willie.
got to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, Bitchin', was a masterpiece. Mass Appeal is amazing. Just being in the state of mind to be able to go on the roller coaster, I'm grateful for, and it was a very emotional production. Let's just say that, because in telling my dad's story, it's important to always obviously speak the truth, give it to you raw. And, we don't want to sweep things under the rug. And that was our main goal. So with that, comes the good, the bad, the ugly, Yeah. So, yeah, just dealing with that on a regular basis through any production. But it happens every day because just hearing his music, makes me emotional.
Yeah.
So some songs. So I'm used to it and understand that's my position, and I'm glad to be appointed.
Wow. Man, you just struck a nerve. I was thinking about, when I'm gone, how that affects my children, like listening to the music and my voice. But how do you get through so many, repeat sessions of editing? Because I know you had to be in that editing room. I know you was there, right?
Absolutely.
Because from what I understand about you, you're hands-on.
Yes,
so,
very.
So, yeah. How did you, because, okay, it's one time, you see it the first time, and then, you experience a certain wave of emotions. And then you come right back, and then you see the same scenes over and over again, and these are the same things that had evoked, certain expression out of you. Was those expressions, did they repeat themselves, or was it something different every time?
It's funny that you say that, Willie, because yes, every time it's a different emotion. I like to look at everything as a lesson, and I try to really understand, where he was and put myself in those shoes. So obviously, my dad had a drug problem. So now I'm like, okay, what is the reason? What is the purpose? Because through all the AA meetings that, we've attended as a family, because drug addiction does not just affect the person, it affects the family. And that's one thing that I really want to, get across and really speak more about, the damage and the hurt and the pain that the family experiences, because, at least they have the high, from the drug. We don't have that. We have just the trauma
Whoa.
and the pain. So in understanding that, it's like, I don't want to hold a grudge, and I don't want to just keep trying to place the blame on, gosh, why did you have to be addicted to drugs? It's not that. It's a much bigger picture. There was a lot of suffering and pain behind that addiction, and that's kind of what you want to display. So it's coming to terms and understanding, and just all those emotions. It's a lot. It gets overwhelming at times.
Did you walk away with a sense that you got to the bottom of what that pain was, what those demons that he was fighting, what those demons were?
Totally. Yeah, I am in total peace. I know that my dad lived a beautiful life through the trauma, through the pain, left a mark on the world that is unforgettable, and with that being said, it's just like, I'm Rick James, bitch.
Right.
That's all. It's like when you can say that and the whole world know what you're saying, it's like in the mind of a maniac that is so extremely talented, and intellectual. So it gets really, really deep. And even in the conversations, he would try to hide this addiction from me. I don't know why. It's like, don't, I know that you
Well, you baby
are
girl,
partaking, right?
Baby girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Baby girl, only girl? No.
Yeah. Was you a daddy girl?
1,000%.
You was a daddy's
Yeah.
girl.
I mean, I'm the only girl. I'm the firstborn. So.
Right. Well, that's sometimes, like a man can have only one daughter and he don't really, he can't connect with her and she don't connect with him.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Really?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Wow. That's that's different.
It's some dudes out there that,
Mm-hmm.
they don't care about seeds. They don't care about their children. They don't care that they actually brought a human being into the world. They don't give a damn. It's like, it's all about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
It says something about your character that you were able to compartmentalize that pain and not allow it to run you away from your dad, right? Because so often it's very easy for us to discard our parents, especially our daddy. It's something about daddy, like, daddy can be really a good dude, but if he make one mistake, fuck that nigga. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see him no more. Da 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 da.
Right.
But mama get a million chances.
Yeah, I think the reason that I was able to compartmentalize is I honestly feel like a man is expected to be away in a sense from the home. They get a pass. They have to go out and bring home the bacon. They might have to travel. That could be 6 months in a whole nother country to make sure the other 6 months is stable, and comfortable for the family. So just growing up with that mentality, I always thought that, as a mom, you don't really have the liberty to do that. You see it a little more now. It's a little more common, but men kind of do get the freedom to be able to, go home go out and bring home the bacon.
Were you okay with that? Because I'm sure there were times when, your dad was a hard worker, and when he was in his prime, he had to be gone a lot, right, in order to go out there and make history. So were you like, were there times when you would look up out into the stands and you're hoping to see your dad? Did you play sports? Were you in any extracurricular activities that would cause your dad to have to show up and root you on?
I think because I didn't really officially meet my dad until I was like 13.
Okay.
From my recollection, I know he was kind of in and out as a very, very, young girl. But those times I don't remember at all. And I just got so used to the point of him not being there that I had already accepted it. So I wouldn't want to set myself up for disappointment if that makes any sense. My brother, who is 2 years younger than me, he's a little different. He was the one that, would say, "Oh, well, daddy's going to come back. He's probably going to come back next week for my game." And I don't know if it's maybe because it's a little boy's, envision to see his father in hopes that he would be there.
No, are you talking about Rick or Trey? You're talking about
Little
Ricky
Ricky,
is Trey,
yeah.
But you got
Taz,
and then
and
you got
Ricky.
Rick.
Yeah. So
Right.
Ricky and I have the same mom and dad.
Okay.
So he's 2 years younger than me.
Right.
That's my full brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tasman, of course, is my dad's second wife.
Okay.
Tanya, they had a child together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would just scold him, stop, hoping for that. Stop wishing for that. Stop setting yourself up, because I'm one that I don't like to set myself up for disappointment. And yeah, I never looked for him to be there.
You were never bitter?
Absolutely. I was bitter, I would say from probably 10 to maybe 12. And my mom did such a good job. My mom was a hustler. Like, you couldn't tell us that we didn't have everything we needed, and definitely grew up, more on the poor side, not, you know, well off or wealthy like, my dad is. So, um, it bothered me that everybody had all the fancy things, and our dad is a superstar, multi-millionaire, just absent. And also didn't want to hold a grudge against my mom, because I questioned her, like, Mom, what, you know where's your baby daddy at, what's going on?
Hmm.
And but they have 2 kids, so to me it should be like, let me see where this man is so I can make sure my kids is good, but I understand they were dealing with whatever their relationship was going through. Because, my mom was a firecracker once upon a time, and then she went a completely and total, like, religious route. So that kind of separated them. And for a while, I feel like she was running from him in his attempts to try to find us. So yeah, it's a lot of backstory, and then you get 2 sides. You get your moms, you get your dads, and you try to, and it's just like, oh my God, I don't even know.
Yeah.
You wind up stuck in the middle, and you just have to come to terms with what the reality actually is, and just kind of live your life moving forward. So when he did present himself at the age of 13, I had let the bitterness go with my mom and him by then, and was just like, I'm a Cancer, so I'm very loving and nurturing, and I want everybody happy and to get along. And of course, that's not the reality all the time, but that's what I hope and pray for.
Yeah. Did that your relationship with your dad, as far as the part of it that was not right, have any effect on your relationships, your romantic relationships with other men?
Hmm. Ooh, Willie, I'm gonna have to come out my coat for this. You're touching a nerve over here. um, I like to think not. I don't think my personal relationships were affected by his, but I will say that I kind of look for my dad in the men that I date, but not the bad side. Like, I
Mm.
want to see the genius, I want to see the style, I want to see the heart, the compassion, because, my
Now, why you
dad,
put that kind of pressure on a man? You ain't gonna get that kind of genius out of no other man.
listen, you better step it up. You step that game up. So yeah, I kind of look at myself as like a hopeful romantic, not a hopeless romantic.
Right, right. That makes a lot of sense. I see that. You mentioned that you was a Cancer. Eh, a Cancer reminds
Mm-hmm.
me of the song Moonchild that
Mm-hmm.
your daddy wrote. That song could be about you if he hadn't said, I'm your man forever, or something he said along the lines of. And I don't know if he tried to just throw that in there to make it more universal where it could work for lovers or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was listening to that song, I was like, I wonder is he's talking about Ty? Is that song about you?
So you picking that up is very perceptive. Um, my dad had all Cancer women around him. So Tanya, who is my youngest brother's mom, and then my dad's caretaker, Linda Hunt, who was with him for over 40 years, who actually found him when he passed away. The 3 of us are all Cancers.
Mm,
So when that song was created, we're all taking dibs, but I think
right.
it was a combination of the 3 of us. Yeah.
Rick James, boy, that Rick James is something else. Rick James had to be one of the most unconquerable, um, incomparable, dynamic, multifaceted, talented dude to ever walk the planet. The man did R&B, did disco, he did rock. He could do country western if he wanted to. He was really talented, and he helped a lot of people. He put a lot of people on.
Absolutely.
See, a lot of times you get an artist that's that talented, and they keep everything for themselves. They don't want anybody else to shine. But Rick didn't have any problem working with other people, and he also worked with his heroes in the game, Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he. I read somewhere that he befriended Eddie Kendricks.
Right.
Was it Eddie? Was it Eddie Kendricks? Not Eddie Kendricks, but the guy, the other guy from Temptations. Eddie. It's Eddie something.
I know. I'm drawing a blank too,
Yeah,
but I know
yeah.
you're talking about
But
the
I'll
Temptations.
come back to it.
Okay.
But anyway, Rick James was that dude. I saw Rick play in Houston once at an arena, and he came out on stage. It was a spotlight, and he finally just walked out on stage, and he stood in the center of the stage, looked around at everybody for a bit, like, yeah, looked around, and I'm talking about it must have been, the intro must have lasted at least 10 minutes. 'Cause he was just watching, just looking at everybody, and he lit a cigarette.
You sure it was a cigarette?
It could have been, I don't know
Come
what,
on now.
I don't know what it was.
You know
Well, he
that-
smoked it like this. Well, he smoked it like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he smoked on he drew a few puffs of the cigarette, and he flipped it, and he just went into his act. I can't remember the song, but he went into the act, and I was like, ooh, because I'm a performer. I'm not just a rapper. I know how to get on that stage and work it.
Okay.
And when I saw him do that,
Yes.
just something so subtle, but it was so impactful. He was a consummate performer.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been involved in the arts at all?
I feel like I embody a lot of everything in entertainment, honestly, from music to fashion. I'm super passionate about it. I definitely have. I had a little, rap career, a little short rap
Yeah.
career.
Did you do some acting? Did you ever do some
Not
acting?
really.
Okay.
No, that's the only thing I didn't
Okay.
do. But I think, I had to make a decision between that, a music career, and I was pregnant at a really young age. And, it was more important for me to be an amazing mother and parent. And I know what this, this career takes to succeed. Yeah. Like, it takes all of you. It takes more than you. It takes, oh man, 1,000%, not 100. So, yeah.
For those young girls out there who may not know what to do, who might be in the same position that you were once in as a single mother, and they're confused, they're lost, they don't know how to get out of the jam that they're in. What kind of advice would you give them?
As far as pursuing,
as far as like how you got yourself together, like I'm sure it started mentally. You said to yourself, "This is what I got. I got a child to raise. I got a major responsibility here," and at some point you crafted a plan. I'm sure that you didn't get to where you are by happenstance. I'm sure it was by design. Like,
right?
What was going through your mind, and what made you pull yourself up by the bootstraps?
So, what made me understand that shit got real when you're pregnant at 18, and I'm the type of person that, I don't really like to ask people for things, even though, my dad is well in my life by then, I still felt like it was my decision as a woman, to have a child. And I'm sorry, believe it or not, at 18, you're grown as a woman. So I've always been a really hard worker. I would say just your work ethic is what's going to really pull you, up out of any contemplation of, I can't do this. No, you got to focus, you got to lock in, and, it's all mental. It's mental. And don't be distracted by doubt, because that is one of the things that, it can attack you at any time.
Yeah.
Doubt comes out of nowhere, and it's nothing but the devil saying you can't do it, or you're not strong enough, or those things. You have to overcome that and be the stronger, greater force.
Yeah, that doubt is those intrusive thoughts that we have.
Absolutely.
But I think that we have to understand that doubt is real, and doubt is, it's okay to doubt yourself, but not doubt yourself to the point that you become stagnant and you don't believe. You allow it to dominate you, because I doubt myself all the time.
That's
but at
my
the same
point.
time, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. And I think that when I have these doubts, and I feel like I feel some type of real pressure, I think that I'm really close to a breakthrough, and I'm supposed to be going through. This is how I'm supposed to feel. Like some people, if they feel like that, it'll discourage them, and they won't even try anymore. But when I feel it, in my mind, I'm like, well, this is what happens when you are trying to make a major move, a big breakthrough.
A big impact.
Yeah, a big impact.
Yes.
You gotta feel that anxiety.
I totally
You have to
agree.
feel that doubt. And then you just say, okay, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's almost like kind of like fighting a bully. You ever had fights in school?
There was one
You beat up
bully.
somebody at least
There,
once.
no. I had one bully, and her sister used to follow me home from school. I can't. The girl's name was Mary Ann. I'll never forget. And her older sister thought she was gonna slap me, and I said, "Wait a minute." And the crazy thing is, Mary Ann was like my size, and the sister was way bigger than her and I. So I'm like, why couldn't the little girl slap me? Why I gotta fight the big girl? I think she slapped me, and it caught me off guard, and I was in shock. So I kicked and ran. I was like, I gotta get out of here because they gonna jump me.
So you
And
saw him the next day. So what happens the next
That
day?
was really the only, I think because I stood up for myself, we became friends.
That's how it go.
Yes, we became
Yeah.
friends. And I feel like I had it was one other encounter as a child, and oh my God, I got this gash on my forehead from running from some little boys home from school, and it was just a hot mess.
Now, why are these little boys chasing
I don't know. Maybe my skirt was too short.
you? Yeah.
'Cause
Probably one of them like you, and they didn't know how to respond. They was unlearned. That's
Don't-
what happens. I don't
Okay.
understand why little boys try to put their hands on little girls. I think it's like a little baby love connection or something.
Yeah, I guess that's how they express
That's
themselves,
the way,
right?
yeah. Unlearned.
Y'all don't know how to tell a
Yeah.
girl I like you.
Yeah.
Just write a little letter. Do you like me? Yes or no? You know that.
Right. I like you. You like me. Yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. There's a picture of you and your dad on the internet. Your dad and you are embracing, and you're looking directly into the camera, and your dad's eyes are closed, and he just seems so content. He seems very, very happy. And I'm speaking of that because when I saw it, it reminded me of me and my daughter.
Wow.
That was love. I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it. Yeah.
We
Do you
shared.
know the picture that I'm talking about?
Did I have a hat on?
You had a hat on, I believe.
I
You had a
think
hat
it
on.
was. That could have been Eddie Murphy's that was his premiere of Spies. Was it Spy Kids?
Hmm.
Remember that movie Eddie did back in? I feel like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That is a beautiful picture.
Oh, we
Yeah.
we have so many, and thank you for noticing that. We have so many like photos, and not just photos, the moments that I recall that um, I keep in my heart, I keep in my mind, and that's kind of the fuel that gets me through all these big productions because
Mm.
it's a lot. It could be a lot for little old me.
Yeah.
I wasn't left with a playbook or a blueprint on Tiny. That's what my dad used to call me, Tiny Boo Boo. Tiny, this is what you do. This is how you line it up. This is how you deal with that person. That it's just like I kind of have to go on the spirit and the vibes, and obviously very 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 prayerful, and just continue my conversations with God and just understand that I'm doing the right thing and getting in bed with the right people.
Yeah. Did he give you some instructions on how to deal with this wild, crazy, beautiful world, the people that run it in the music industry, entertainment industry? Did he give you any instructions?
No, zero. That's what I mean. Like there was no playbook, no nothing. Like it's just watching him, of course, being around a lot of incidences that took place, whether it's a meeting or a deal being conducted. Um, Thankfully, I have a really good team, support team from legal on down. And I'm confident that I'm making the right decisions, and it took me falling, tripping, had to fall down and get back up. And, we don't, early on, I know that I made mistakes, and you kind of just have to go through that when you don't have the instructions. So,
What does your brothers think of these projects involving your dad and you being at the head, um, you know, pretty much running the show?
well, they don't have a choice because they're pretty supportive, I would say. My younger brother, we're not in great communication,
Class.
so
Yeah.
he'll get it, through somebody else, but I mean, it's a responsibility with this legacy that I don't think that they quite have grasped yet.
Mm.
Um, and that's how I've always taken it. Anything I do with them in mind. I do for the three of us. So,
Yeah. How was it like working with Sasha Jenkins?
oh my God, I love Sash.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a very detail oriented. He's super. His depth of knowledge, for the game is beyond most people's scope. So, like I learned so much. And he's funny. He has this like really quirky kind of charm about him. It's, I loved working with Sasha and the guys over at Massive Hill.
When he first contacted you about the
Hmm.
project, I'm sure he reached out to you, right? He
Yes,
reached out, right?
yes.
Yeah. And the reason why I said that because I know Sasha.
You know
He's a
Sasha?
good friend.
Yeah.
And Sasha ain't got no problem picking up that phone saying, "Yo, I want to do business with
Mm-mm.
you. I want to do a project."
Mhm.
And the thing about him, I know exactly what you're talking about because he only do projects that he's passionate about.
Mhm.
So if he call you, believe he's already done the homework. He already knows everything about the person that he could possibly dig up himself. And
Yes.
so anything that you tell him is just going to be gravy. He could pretty much do a hell of a project without any additional information. But when you bring in somebody who has intimate knowledge of the subject like you do, then I'm sure. And I haven't. And I feel kind of guilty because I haven't watched it yet. I told my girl I said we're gonna watch it tonight, but I hadn't watched it. I had not watched it, but I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Ooh, shame on you.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
You Okay, so now you have to reach out and tell me what you think
Yeah.
because like you said, between Sasha's genius, and the emotional depth that, comes from the family and his loved ones, everybody did an amazing job. It was beautiful. We got nothing but rave reviews. And I think the part that I enjoyed the most, and I think that most people enjoyed, was they actually learned a lot. It was a teachable moment about RJ.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And it did seem like from the reviews that I read that y'all didn't pull any punches. Y'all did show the good, the bad, and the ugly. In fact, hell, it's in the trailer. Like I was like, oh, whoa, they went there. But I think that's what you have to do. Like, if you really want to be authentic, and Rick was as authentic as they come, and I do not think that he would have wanted you to leave the bad and the ugly out. Like, he had that type of attitude. Like, this is who I am, and if you don't like it, fuck. In fact, he said it in what's that song? You and I. He said something along the lines that I'm not concerned. You can, as far as I'm concerned, y'all can all go to
All
hell.
can go
You can
to
all go. I had to
hell.
listen to it over and over. I remember when I was little when it came out, and I was like, did he say that? They was playing it on the radio. They didn't play stuff like that on the radio back then.
No,
But they played
totally.
it on the radio.
Uh-huh.
Did he say, as far as I'm concerned, they can all go to hell?
Definitely said that.
And they held a note too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
That was a jamming song. But
Yes.
that was Rick James. He really did live his life on his own terms, and sometimes to his detriment. But he knew exactly what he was getting into when he got into it.
To the core, as a matter of fact, my dad is as raw, as it gets. And I think that, it's a gift and a curse because here you are, this celebrity superstar, and all your business, as you know, is on Front Street. So now people know when you are making a mistake that we all make these mistakes, but his just happened to be on blast. I'm a true and firm believer that you can actually learn from mistakes. And maybe it took him making a mistake for somebody else to learn that, okay, maybe I don't need to go that far. You know what I mean? So I think everything is a teachable moment. If you're not learning and making mistakes, then how do you improve?
Hmm. Yeah, by his own admission, he said that I'm nasty and raw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nasty and raw. And he took pride in it. Like, man, I remember he said uh, in the trailer, I think I heard him say something about like if he don't like Nixon, something about you know it's F Nixon, whatever. He said that on I think that was a nighttime show, like prime time. This man said F the president in prime time. This was what 30, 40 years ago.
Because guess what that is? His opinion. We all are entitled to it. Most people are just afraid to speak on it out loud in front of people.
Rick James would have a hard time getting his music out today in this cancel culture. As great as his music was, it was edgy. It was he he walked that tightrope.
A
He would have
thousand
a hard
percent.
time in this type of cancel culture we're in now, like putting out something like Super Freak and Fire and Desire, even Fire and Desire, which is one of my favorite all time favorites. Speaking of Fire and Desire,
Beautiful ballad.
with Tina Marie,
Yes.
the great,
Beautiful ballad.
incomparable Tina Marie. Man, they were something special together. Anytime those two performed, you already knew you was about to get a show. And it brings me to that fourth annual BET awards show where he and Tina Marie was performing.
Mm-hmm.
And after the performance and everything, Rick was was to pick up an award, and this one girl said something about she didn't know who he was, and that's when he dropped the iconic Rick James bitch on everybody.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, Rick James was something else. Now, and here's the thing, like, were you in the audience? Were you?
That was the first award show that my dad and I attended together, and that was the last show that
Yeah,
he attended before he passed away.
right.
Hmm.
Now, at
I
this
mean,
point,
the roof erupted when.
do you know that your dad is that celebrated? Do you know? I mean, you know he's famous, but do you really understand how famous your dad is until you actually go into his element at the BET Awards, and all of these people are acknowledging your dad like that's Rick James, bitch. And like, are you
So,
feeling it
so
now?
I'm obviously, I'm familiar with his success and how big he is, but sitting there and in the moment that it happens, the impact, it definitely hits different
Yeah.
because I mean, I felt it. I know I'm going to feel it because I know who it is, right?
Hmm.
But I'm looking around and the whole room is out of their seat,
Yeah, it's
standing
pandemonium.
ovation. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, it was definitely a aha moment. I don't even know if he realized it because he's never thought of himself anything less. So it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, it felt really, really good. It felt good to see that.
Yeah. I asked because, for a while when my kids were little, I used to, I have them with me, and wherever I go, invariably somebody will want to stop and have a conversation. And my kids were like, why do people always want to talk to you? Now, they know that I rap. They know I'm in entertainment, but they don't be in my element with me. They're not at the concerts at this time.
Right. Hmm.
They I never had them on tour or anything like that. So they haven't really, really been around me in my element.
Right.
So I say to myself, okay, I think they were like 8 and 12. No, probably more like 10 and 14 at the time.
Okay.
And I say, okay, let them see one of these shows, before it's too late, let me take them to a show. And they were still young, but I say, the dad is part of one of the greatest groups ever, so they got to see this. So they come to the show, and they're in the front where the press area is, and people are going crazy. They screaming, singing, I'm gonna get up, boys out here. We doing the call and response, and we're doing it, and they're looking around, and they're just doing everything, and
Yeah.
I could see it in their eyes because I'm looking
I
down
can
at them,
only
and they're going
imagine.
like, and even when we pull up, in the cars, the fans on the side, ready for the autographs. They got the album. Wait, they got albums, and they ready to get the stuff signed.
Yes.
And my kids are going like, they tripping because people are everywhere, and they're clawing and trying to get to me, and
Yes.
they're trying to figure out, like what's going on. But it was at that moment that they really, really realized that, nah, your dad ain't just a rapper, you know what I'm saying? I do this for real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's why I ask you that, because sometimes the kids don't really get really how impactful their parents are until they actually get into that element, and then they see, okay, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, this is probably a little different than what I thought it was.
For sure. It was definitely when you take, James A. Johnson and separate that and go behind closed doors or outside to the world to Rick James. It's two different, people. Like Rick James is the character that is the alter ego that the world gets, but your children get a
Hmm.
different that softer, more emotional, the sensitive. you know, that's daddy. So
Is that A for Ambrose, right? Is it Ambrose?
Ambrose,
Ambrose, yeah. Rick James, man. Boy,
yes.
something else. How did you feel about, let me put it like this. How did your dad feel about the skits that Charlie Murphy used to do on the Chapelle show?
Man, those skits, those wasn't skits. That was real life. That's
That was real life.
that's why
How
they
accurate
felt
was it?
so good and came across like that, because that is really how they act behind closed, like, you know, my dad, Eddie, Charlie, they all very good friends. My dad and Eddie were the best of friends. And of course Charlie's there coming up in the, you know, under just goofy. Like they all act silly, you know, they always had girls and women. I mean, just liquor, champagne, and acting just like wild boys. So when you talk about show me your titties, like the girls didn't, they said that all the time. And like you said, now it would be a problem.
Right.
But that's how they actually used to get down. Girls would have no problem like flipping their shirt up. Like, you know, it's like a flash. Like wet t-shirt contest. I don't know. But yeah, they would just slap each other on the regular, you know, and that's again why it felt so authentic, and it was very comical, because it was really real life.
Yeah. You're the director of the Rick James estate. What does your role entail?
So basically just being the president of my dad's estate is all that encompasses running and building the brand and the legacy, from music licensing, you know, to production things, you know, movie stuff. Now this play that we're doing, Super Freak, it's
The
just
Rick James story.
absolutely.
Jakarius Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can we get Jakarius to come in on here? Yeah. But go ahead. Go ahead. We're gonna get Jakarius to join us.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's you know, the many hats. There are a couple other things, irons brewing in the fire.
Right.
So yeah, just making sure that we continuing to preserve, you know, that's merchandise, constantly designing. I oversee that as well. Have a clothing line called Stone City, which is basically, you know, his band that he created, Stone City Band. So I wanted to make sure I paid homage in that way. Yeah.
Your dad is from New York. He's, what is it?
Buffalo,
New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Stone City like a synonym for something else, or is it a...
No, so, you know, when you say Stone City, it's kind of like
the
being
bricks?
high, like
Oh,
stone,
that's
like
stone.
stoner.
That's stone. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm stoned.
I thought you were talking about coming from the bricks, you know, like I'm from the bricks, you know. So I was thinking along those lines. Okay,
No.
Stone City,
Stone.
City.
You know what that? Yeah.
Jakarius, come on, pull
the
up. Hey, can
stoners.
you set them up right there, right quick?
Okay.
We're gonna have to
Going good.
share
Yeah.
a mic.
You okay? Yeah. You want
Get
to
you
share this?
Yeah, let's share that mic right there.
I can put it like this, and it should be fine. Cool.
So, Jakarius, you are you are producing the play Super Freak, the Rick James story. Can you tell the audience what to expect here?
A super freakish good time with a super talented human being. I mean, Rick James' story is just so vast and so versatile and so beautiful and so black, so white, so everybody, man. It's been a delightful journey to discover the things that I've discovered in the writing process of dealing with. with creating Super Freak. So I just so much I didn't know about him, and I think people just like me are gonna learn just his influence and the level of influence that he had. I mean, to say that the Grammys didn't really truly acknowledge him till hip hop sampled him, right?
Right.
I mean, it wasn't until Hammer did
he get a Grammy?
Did he get a Grammy?
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
He got a Grammy for composing Super Freak.
Yeah, and the fact that he shaped style and performance abilities of Prince. You know what I'm saying? Who was on tour with him? Just basically, watching, emulating, figuring it out, kind of watching your mentor. To shaping the sound of white groups like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Which is, I don't think nobody black knows, right? Like, I don't think black people know that he had any influence on that, on a group like that who basically performed at Woodstock, right? So you got a black man in a group of all white boys, and the white boys are being pulled one by one to create these new groups that go on to become iconic groups. But it was his influence, it was his sound in the groups, being the only black man in these white groups, that created this sound, that influenced this sound, that ultimately the white boys would be able to go on and be successful with. So then he has to create his own identity, right? Yeah. He has to go from James Johnson to creating Rick James. You know what I'm saying? And it's when he does that everything begins to shift, and we kind of begin to get the music that we are aware of, generally within our community. And then he tops it off with Street Songs, which just was the greatest record of all time. So when you think about making a Tina Marie, making a Crosby, Stills, and Nash, influencing a Prince, getting sampled by Hammer, when you think about all of these things in succession, it's just greatness. It's just really one word, greatness. And to have that kind of style, that kind of class, that level of instrumentation, to be able to play the multiple instruments that he did, to arrange the songs that he did, the Mary Jane Girls, all, the Smokey Robinson joint, Ebony Eyes, you know what I'm saying? Just think about it. Like, it was crazy, man. And so I think people are going to really, really have the time of their life. I mean, they're going to have a good time.
Man, how difficult was it to cast him?
It was hard. I mean, we was on the phone going back and forth, guessing who could do this, who could do that. This person could act, but they can't sing. This person could kind of sing, but was a brilliant actor. This person was this, but they couldn't play anything, or they could sing and act and couldn't play an instrument. It was a lot. We went around and around to land on Stokely, a man who can play pretty much every instrument, who can sing, who can, embody the essence of him musically, and who is now on an acting journey, I think, that's going to show everybody, chops that they never knew he had.
Yeah.
So, we settled on Stokely, but it was a hard decision. It was hard because, there's young Rick, there's old Rick, right? Or older Rick. And then it was about who had the vocal ability to sing that many, 30 songs in this thing. So who can sing 30 songs for 6 to 8 shows a week and not lose their voice? Who has the training of an instrument to be able to achieve that? So, some people would look at it and just say, that's just some big shoes to fill. I can't even do it. And, we're very appreciative of Stokely being willing to take on the task. And I think folks are going to just get a real treat when they see what he's doing with it.
Yeah. Man, I think I could have hit a couple of them. I think I could have done Super Freak, man. Let me see, what other song he got that I could rock?
He talking about one or two songs out of the whole 30.
Give it to me, baby. You and I.
Oh, man, give it to me, baby. Oh, man, that was my song, right? Yeah. I don't know, I think Give It To Me, Baby might be my all-time favorite Rick James song.
Yeah.
Give it to me, man. Give it to me, baby. Ooh, man, I'm having flashbacks. How many cities?
30.
30 cities.
Yeah. 30
So it's fair to say that the play will be in a city near you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse not to come out and support this play. And I can tell you right now, I've been to several Jakarius Johnson plays, and always done very well. Very good lighting, good sound, good talent, all the way around. Great production. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm definitely coming. I'm coming on open night. I'm coming on opening night. I'll be there.
Let's go.
All right.
Well, man, I thank you for
Can't
coming on the
wait.
show. Thank you for dropping in and dropping some gems on us. Thank you, Ty, for coming on the show and making it what it was.
Of course.
I wish you nothing but the best. You're a legend already. You don't even know it though, but you're right. I'm telling you, you are because of the responsibility that you have in preserving your dad's legacy and the things that I know and the things that you're doing. You are putting yourself in a position to be that chick. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I appreciate you.
You are.
Thank you.
I'm
Just little old TJ.
Nah.
Honestly, I'm
You're doing
really
it.
learning a lot from Jakarius too, and I
Yeah.
appreciate the opportunity and the passion that he always exudes when he speaks about him and the information. It's gonna be an amazing time, and I can hardly wait. Every day I get more and more excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, woo, I'm anticipating this.
Yeah. Well, we love that.
And most importantly, I feel like my dad would really be proud, and that's when I finish, and go into any project, and at the conclusion of it, I really, really feel like I have to make sure that this will be something that he will be pleased with.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the talent to the sound to everything, and when it's great, like we got to make sure it's gonna be great.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on the limb and say it's gonna be great. Y'all come on out, man. Make sure y'all support the big time Super Freak play. Super Freak, the Rick James story. Y'all make sure y'all come on out, support that, man. Get your tickets where?
You can go to Ticketmaster. You can go to Jakarius.com. You can go to RickJamesLive.com. You can go to SuperFreakLiveOnStage.com. So any of the above, you can find it. Or you could just Google Super Freak, the Rick James story, and I'm sure one of the ticket links going to show up there too.
Jakarius Johnson, Ty James, thank you once
Thank you,
again.
brother.
All right, y'all.
Appreciate you.
No more talk.